So I want to welcome Jeff White to the WT Editorial Board interview. Jeff's running for re-election to City Council, Ward 1. Welcome, Jeff. Glad to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
For those listening or watching at home, I'm Brian Martin. I'm the managing editor of the Wyoming Tribune Eagle, and I have with me a community rep from the editorial board.
Bob Feck from Cheyenne Animal Shelter. Good to see you this morning.
Always a pleasure seeing you, Bob.
So again, Jeff, good to have you. Let's get started with the first question, which is what specific issues or concerns have caused you to run for re-election to the council this year?
Well, the first and foremost, I think the most important issue at hand is the state budget situation, which, as we all know, has caused a significant revenue shortfall in our state's economy. I think that that's going to cause a ripple effect, which will kind of come down to all of the local municipalities, Cheyenne included. And so that's going to be a problem that we're going to need to address. So I think some fiscal responsibility is in order, and kind of coming up with a balanced approach where we can address both needs and wants in a responsible manner so that we can continue to move forward as a community. Number two, the landfill situation, which has been a can that we've kicked down the road for many, many years. That project is beginning to inch forward, and I think it's an important project because we spend $100,000 per month, $1.2 million per year shipping our trash to all Colorado. I think that money would be better spent staying here. We are seeing some progress on that project. I'd like to see that get completed. I've been on record since the beginning of being a supporter of the West Edge Development Project, the steam plant, and now the redevelopment of the Heinz building. All three of those I'm a very strong supporter of and want to see those get completed as well. And then I suppose the last, but certainly not least, issue is how do we continue to try and help the south side of our community see renewal and stimulate some economic progress on that part of town, which is in Ward 1 as well.
Jeff, we have a citizen legislature or a citizen council, but do you think there's anything specifically that qualifies you to be a member of the council?
Well, when after Mr. Valdez's untimely passing last October, I did go through the interview process where there were 21 other applicants. My now colleagues, Councilman Roybal and Councilwoman Williams from Ward 1 conducted those interviews. They narrowed it down to 5 finalists, of which I was one. And then they made the decision to choose me to represent Ward 1 and finish out Mr. Valdez's term. It's an incredible honor. It's an incredible responsibility, and one that I do not take lightly. And, I'm certainly happy to have served these last 7-8 months. I've certainly learned a lot, but I'm also looking forward to continuing to try and help lead the efforts that's going to help our city through some difficult times and, do the best job for Ward 1 that I can.
Can I follow up, Jeff, with the qualifications? What is it about your background, your work experience, whatever, that makes you a good council member in your mind?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And, my folks moved to Cheyenne in 1980. I've made this community my home for a very long time. I'm a graduate I'm a product of the Laramie County School District #1 system and a graduate of University of Wyoming. And so also in my job, working as a deputy administrator at Department of Workforce Services, we have a staff of 500 people all across the state. We have a $162 million budget. And like everyone else, we have been asked to make some cuts and try to do more with less. And, I work in that context. I work every day, facing the economic realization that we're currently experiencing. And I think that experience serves me well as I'm a member of the governing body, in that the governing body is going to be asked to make some very tough decisions moving forward as well.
Maybe in addition to the budget situation, which you've already alluded to, what do you consider to be the biggest challenge facing the city of Cheyenne?
I think the biggest challenge that I've seen and folks that I've talked to is, but I also think it's improving. A lot of folks don't feel involved. A lot of folks feel that a lot of folks don't even know their council members. I had a lady tell me she wouldn't know some of the council members if they were standing next to her on the street. I think that that's a problem. I think that each one of us needs to be more accessible and maybe get more involved as far as maybe promoting some town hall meetings where we do some type of consistent monthly meeting with our constituents. And that it doesn't have to just be Ward 1 council members or Ward 2. We could have a member from each ward come out and answer questions once per month at the same time, at the same location, so people know, kind of get to know that that's going to be the regular schedule and can plan their schedules around that. And I think that would serve us all well. I think a big problem that I've also seen is recruitment and retention of city employees. We did get a pay raise passed for city staff just a couple of nights ago. I'm sure it's going to be very controversial, but recruitment and retention has been a problem. And the cost of losing somebody who has the institutional knowledge and then training a new employee from the ground up, so to speak, that's a tremendous cost as well. I think the third most important challenge would be our infrastructure. And we are, this is an area I'm fond of the saying, we need to deal events before they deal with us. Well, I think that around town, we're seeing events dealing with us. And so we need to be more proactive about our infrastructure. We need to develop, with community involvement, of course, a ambitious plan to address the state of our roads, which everyone knows are not the greatest right now.
Jeff, a little follow-up on the people don't know the city council. I think that the police department's been fairly successful with their area or community meetings. Has there been any discussion of council members to participate in those or go to those so they can meet the public more?
Number one, I would agree with you that the police have been very successful with that. I think the neighborhood night out programs have been a great idea. To my knowledge, I don't have any experience in receiving an invitation to attend those. That's something that we could communicate with the chief on and maybe talk about attending and seeing if an invitation could get extended to the council. I think that's a great idea. And also, like I said, the council members having their own community meetings would be very good to, talk one-on-one with our constituents. I will say that I think we're all accessible in that all of us get many, many phone calls every week, many, many emails every week. And I think that we do our best to answer those as best we can and as quickly as we can. But nothing beats that face-to-face contact, I think. And that's how you really establish rapport and trust and a good relationship moving forward.
Jeff, would you please describe your vision for Cheyenne?
My vision for Cheyenne. Well, number one, we have to have a vision, right? And, you know, one of the things that I've been kind of surprised about since being appointed to council, the city really doesn't have a mission, vision, values statement, which kind of struck me as odd because, you know, working for the state, the governor has required every agency to have a mission, vision, values that kind of ties into his overall vision for the state. And I think whomever the incoming mayor is going to be, it would certainly benefit him or her to work with city staff and come up with something like that. And I think it would be very important to get staff buy-in because, you know, if you've got that staff buy-in, it's going to go a long way in kind of pushing that mission and vision forward. So I think we need to articulate a vision as a city and work together to kind of tie in all of the other departments and staff members to buy into that, and then know, okay, this is the map that we have now. So what do we need to do to get from where we are now to accomplishing that vision as effectively and efficiently as we can? So first you've got to articulate that and then come up with the policies that are going to move that forward. My vision for Cheyenne is that, you know we're in a difficult economic situation right now, but I still think that our best days in Cheyenne are ahead of us and not behind us. And the reason that I say that is because if you look around, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is more energy. There is more involvement. There are more people getting involved in running for office. Take Ward 1, for instance. There are 12 people running for a city council spot. I don't know if that number's ever been matched in history of our community. So people are wanting to get involved. People are wanting to see change. There's a lot of great energy in our downtown right now, more than what I've seen in definitely 15, 20 years, into finally kind of moving our downtown area forward. So yeah, that's my vision, is that we need to keep making progress. We need to keep working together. One of the things that's going to be a central theme of my campaign this summer is inclusion. And I've learned that one of the best things you can do as a member of city council is to listen, to ask questions, and make the best decision that you can. And so, I really hope that the residents of Ward 1 will allow me to continue trying to make the decisions that represent them.
Along those lines, what do you think the community doesn't have that it needs to have, and how would you as a council member make that happen?
Well, I don't think we don't have a mission and vision, and I think that that's necessary. One of the things that I hear most, and I know it's failed twice, is the addition of a rec center. And I know a lot of people want that. It's not going to be on the 6-penny ballot this time around, I don't think. But I don't think that we should give up on that idea either. I think what we haven't had in the past, but I think we're starting to see the ship turn around, if you will, on that, is a downtown that's filled with vitality and energy. I think we've been lacking that for a really long time. And in my opinion, a community's downtown area is its heartbeat. And so it just so happens that what I think to be our city's heartbeat is in Ward 1. And so it means a lot to me. But we're starting to see the ship turn. We're starting to see a lot of projects that are going to improve downtown, bring in more business opportunities, I believe. I think the Rewrite program, which has been tremendous and it did not cost anything but time. It was a partnership of private business and local citizens that wanted to see something like that happen. And they worked hard and they got it done, and we're better off for it. So you're starting to see those types of things happen more and more in the downtown area. And I want to see us continue making progress in that area.
Jeff, how do you, go ahead, Bob.
So for downtown
Mm-hmm.
economic development,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, earlier you mentioned Hines.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about economic development and how you see the Hines and some of the other properties downtown fitting into that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, anytime you can take a property that's been empty for 30 years and you have a developer coming forward that's going to put $12 million into a building that's set empty right at the corner of, Lincoln Way and Capitol. I mean, getting that going, getting a tenant in there, bringing more employees downtown, that's going to be huge, I think. I think the West Edge development is a game changer that can completely transform the entire west side of our town. You take a look at the steam plant. There's a building that's set vacant for 35 years. What the developer and his partners want to do with that, it would completely change the landscape of that entire block. And then I think the domino effect from the West Edge will then spill into the rest of downtown. And I see it just as being a wonderful, innovative, energetic project that's finally going to accomplish the goals of what so many of our citizens have wanted to see down there for so long. Now, that brings me to one spot called, and we all know it, called, for better or for worse, it's called The Hole. Nobody wants to see something go into that space more than I do. I know that there's a project on tap for the Children's Museum. Do I think that the public should have a chance to vote on whether or not they want to see that project go into that spot? I do think that the public should have a chance to vote yay or nay on that. From a personal standpoint, I love the idea of a children's museum. I worry about the location. A lot of people don't like the design. I love the design. I worry about the location. I think that there are some other buildings in the downtown corridor, specifically the old police department building, which is, a couple blocks away from the State Museum. I think that might be better suited for a children's museum. But, if the public decides, has a chance to vote on it and votes yes, then I will support it moving forward. I do think, however, that right now, with the financial situation, that there are more needs that we can address perhaps than once.
Just quickly, Jeff, can you say whether you support the idea of taxpayer money going to a project like that?
There's been some controversy surrounding that, but in my conversations with other officials and people in town, it's designed as an economic development tool. And so I think that that's something that where the horse has been out of the barn for quite some time now. I mean, we've used taxpayer money for business parks. We've used, grants to bring to fund economic organizations to bring businesses in. So I think I think using taxpayer money for economic development has been something that has been done already and done many, many times. So for that particular reason, I don't know what the controversy would be. Now, some people might object that, well, the Children's Museum really isn't an economic development tool. You would have to defer to the county attorney and somebody with the legal background for that decision.
You talked twice, not least, about the West Edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are people that may be watching this that do not have a clue what you're talking about. So what do you see as the West Edge development?
The anchor, for me, the anchor of the West Edge is the steam plant building, which is, it sits at the corner of Snyder and 17th. So that property going north to where Warehouse 21 currently is, Warehouse 21, and it was in the papers, they purchased the Holmes building. And so they're going to restore that building. And then I believe the plan for them is to use their current building to lease out some office space. So the whole from the steam plant up through where the Holmes property is located, and then up to where the city parking lot, not the Spiker parking garage, but the outside lot across the street from the city building, with the civics, it's called the Civic Commons Project. I mean, we're talking about taking a broad area, seeing redevelopment, seeing investment, seeing beautification projects, all tied in that one corridor area along where those that rail yard or the railroad tracks go. And so, if you think about that to me is a game changer, and that is going to transform, a lot of dilapidated buildings, unused properties, and things that have just kind of fallen by the wayside for a while into properties that have vitality. They're being used for creative purposes. People, I think our residents would, more residents would be coming downtown into some of these businesses, and it's just it would benefit downtown and the community as a whole.
Where's the money going to come from for that?
The Warehouse Development 1 purchase, that's all done on them. They're the ones that made the purchase. No city money was involved in that, and they're going to be the ones to redevelop those properties. The steam plant project, they are putting up a lot of money. The city council did vote to change some zoning to allow them to move forward on that. There was, they did come to us for a liquor license that was not awarded back in November. They have since kind of changed their business plan, and I believe are planning to come to the governing body with a proposal for a bar and restaurant license, which wouldn't be face nearly as much competition. So I think that there would be some public money assisting in that project, Bob, but for the vast majority would be private.
So So Jeff, we have about 5-6 minutes left, so I want to kind of hit about 3 or 4 more, kind of a lightning round here of questions. Sorry
I'll do my best.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Wanted to get your opinion about the Belvoir Ranch, the development there, and the push to have recreational access. If you could give us your thoughts.
I love the idea of opening up more recreational opportunities for our citizens, and I think the Belvoir Ranch totally fits that need. If you take a look at where the Belvoir Ranch property sits, and then sees what's already occurred with the joint property across the state border, there's already trails in place, and it's very much well used by recreationists. So I support that.
That fits into the next question, which is how does that fit with your budget and savings priorities as a council member? Do you think that's a high priority, a lower, and what are your budget or savings priorities right now?
Well, my budget priority, what I want to see most is infrastructure. And I think that maybe we need to explore the option of a seventh penny to continue to help roads. You know, we currently fund about $4 million a year on infrastructure through the fifth penny. The pavement management system shows our engineers and staff that we need at least $8 million a year to even maintain the system for its current level. Well, we all know that the current level isn't very satisfactory. So we're going to need to make some tough choices. And, you know, like I said, it's a balance of needs and wants. Right now, I'm more in support of infrastructure, getting the landfill done, and then also continuing with, the economic development projects like the West Edge Steam Plant and Hines project.
So
Those would be the balances of where my support would be. I do support the Belvoir, and if it gets on the ballot, that's something that I would vote for. But I'll tell you what I would support more. I would support the Greenway expansion over the Belvoir.
And then sixth penny priorities. What are your personal priorities for projects that should be on there?
Civic Center Commons, the landfill, steam plant, and also this is another problem that that's been a difficult situation for many, many years. Coming up with an engineering project that will finally fix the Ames underpass flooding. I'm sure it would be expensive, and I'm sure that it would take a lot of time and be an inconvenience to many for a period of time, but something has got to be done. It's been a mess ever since I can remember, and we close it off after we have bad rainstorms, and then we wait for the water to recede, and then we open it up again. So that's where my priorities would lay.
I know Bob has one more question for you, but one last issue is anti-discrimination ordinance. Where do you stand on it?
I don't think anybody should be judged on anything but the quality of their work. And so I do support a non-discrimination ordinance. We looked at one this year. There was some language in there that was bothersome. And I think I'm hoping that we will move forward with a resolution. I know it's not an ordinance, and I know that some people might not be happy about that, and I understand that. But there was some language in the proposed ordinance that was bothersome to some members of the governing body, and hopefully we can get that worked out. And if we do, then I would support moving forward with an ordinance, and if not, it looks like it might move forward as a resolution.
There's some public money, general fund, and fifth penny that goes through the United Way to a bunch of nonprofit agencies. Your thoughts on that?
I've got no problem with it. I think our nonprofits in this community serve such a great need and serve so many of our citizens and our kids. I think about the Boys and Girls Club. I think about United Way. There's too many to mention, but no, I would continue to support that.
Jeff, unfortunately, we're out of time. As we wrap up, do you have anything that we didn't ask you? Any other issues you'd like to address really quickly?
No, I think you asked me some great questions today. Number one, I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk with both of you today. And number two, many people say this every election year, but I really do think, that the 2016 election is one in which the future of our community is at stake. And so I'm going to campaign this summer the same way that I've tried to govern for the last 7 months, by listening and learning and engaging and communicating and with all of the people that I represent in Ward 1. And hopefully I'm going to be able to build some coalitions that will advance not just the neighborhoods in Ward 1, but the neighborhoods throughout Cheyenne.
Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.